verse. I think every one of us here have heard it plenty of times, but maybe not. Nothing wrong with you if you haven't, but you're going to be in for a doozy here. James chapter 4, verse number 17. Therefore. So the word therefore means this is the end of a string of thoughts and principles and teaching and things. So it's hard just to grab a verse and do what we would call taking it out of context, meaning this is why it was there, but you're taking it and using it in the wrong place. So for the sake of time, I'm not going to go through the whole entire 4th chapter of James, but I want to just read the verse simply. Therefore, to him that knoweth to do good, and doeth it not, to him it is sin. And so what is sin as defined by this verse, and there's a context here, is that if you know what you're supposed to do and you don't do it, it's sin. I just want to ask you a question real quick. Why? Why would somebody know what they're supposed to do and not do it? Does it make sense? If you know what you're supposed to do and you don't do that, does that even make sense? All right, I'm just going to ask questions and answer them all by myself because I'm fine with that. It'll go from teaching to preaching in 2 seconds. It makes no sense at all to know exactly what you're supposed to do and to not do it. And if you do that, there has to be a few things in your mind that allow you to do that. One would be simply you just don't believe it. So if God says, hey, don't do this, and you hear that, but you do it anyways, one reason for that would be, I don't believe it. It'd be like if somebody said, hey, don't drive your car with no oil in it, you're going to blow the motor up. And your low oil light comes on, and you check it, or maybe somebody else checks it for you and says, hey, man, you don't have any oil in your car. Don't drive it because you're going to blow your motor up. Now, if you get in and drive the vehicle without putting oil in it, what are some reasons you would do that? Number one, you simply don't believe that it's true. Whoever's telling you that, you're saying, whatever, I don't believe that. And then you drive on and your motor blows up. All right? So, not believing it will not mitigate the consequences. Meaning, just because you don't believe it doesn't mean it's not true. Something doesn't become true just because you or I believe it. Something doesn't become true just because a multitude of people believe it. On the flip side, something does not lose its veracity or truthfulness. When Jesus says, verily, verily, that's a form of the word veracity, that's truth, that's for sure, sureness. Something doesn't lose its value of being true just because you deny it, I deny it, the whole world denies it. True does not depend on whether people believe it or not. True is true. Understood? Right. So what are some reasons why somebody would know to do good and do it not? They simply don't believe it. Number two, what are some other reasons? Well, I would say we'd have to say even from the admittance of some people, I don't care. Hey, that's not the right thing to do. You shouldn't do that. I don't care. Okay? I don't care will not mitigate the consequences of doing wrong when you know to do right. The difference between I don't believe and I don't care is the person that says I don't care is admitting that they might believe it, and I therefore think the consequences would be worse. For him that knoweth to do good and doeth it not, to him it is sin. So if you say I know what to do, but I'm not doing it because I simply don't care, well then now there are consequences for that. There's if we look at this, I guess in some ways, I mean, and I have several more, but for sake of time, we can start a little bit later. I know the teachers are ready. Let me. How do you overcome this, whatever the reason is? Maybe in your heart you're like, I don't really know. This person says this is right. This person says this is right. Well, you owe it to yourself and ultimately to God Himself and to anyone that would ever depend upon you, anybody that would ever be affected, I almost said infected, affected in any way by your existence. Anybody. If you care about anybody that would ever be affected by your very existence, you have any passion at all for God, do you care anything about what He thinks? If you're not sure what's right and what's wrong, you are obligated to find out. Let me just take it back real quick. How important is it? How much would it cost to replace a car motor? Anybody done that lately? I'm not talking back in 1962. 1962, you could just go to what we call the boneyard. It's the graveyard, the junkyard for cars, and you can literally, if you're willing to pull it yourself, you could buy a motor for $75. Pull that thing out, throw it in the back of your pickup truck or back of your mom's country squire, right? Take that baby back to the backyard and hoist it from a tree and drop it right in there and get that thing back on the road. Today, I mean, that same issue, first of all, whether you could do it or not, the amount of equipment you'd have to buy to be able to do it would be as much or more as paying somebody else to do it, and then you're not even guaranteed you're going to get it right. Thousands of dollars. If you understood that it was thousands of dollars and that meant anything to you, and one person's telling you, man, don't drive it because you're going to blow the motor up, and somebody else, could be sitting inside your own head, or somebody else sitting there says, that person always say, always got the negative side, prophet of doom, it's fine. And then you follow that advice, and then you hear the bang, 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 knock, 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 boop, boop, boop. That last bouncing you hear is that rod bouncing off the interior underneath your hood before it flies out at a rate of probably, several hundred miles an hour, which could inflict serious damage on anybody close by. But all that's beside the point. The issue is if you thought even a little bit that there could be some truth to it, wouldn't it be wise to check it out? Now, in this verse, God's not talking about a blown motor. He's talking about whether or not you please Him and how you stand in His presence. If you don't know what's right, and you're unsure, I would stop immediately. Whatever it is I'm not sure about, I would stop immediately and I would find out. I would find out what's right. Now, sometimes you're in the middle of a situation where you can't really do a lot of investigation. So, and so to stop means you got to shore some things up. I would shore some things up. I would clean a few things up and say, look, we're not going any further until I know exactly that we're going in the right direction. And that's what needs to be done. Because if you don't, you're risking more than what you really can pay. I was told the other day in a situation, you have to do this. And I already have knowledge that it's improper, so, I said, well, I'm not able to do that. They said, to get somebody that is. I said, well, you don't understand. It's not that the ability is not there, it's that the desire to do it is not there, and I'm not going to do it. Why not? Because it's not right. It shouldn't be done. And it shouldn't be done that way. And so an argument ensues, and more people with more authority, more people with more authority, more people with more authority. You realize it went to as high as possible authorities it could possibly be, but the answer was still no. You know why? Because there's one authority that supersedes all others, and it's God Himself, and it's the truth. It doesn't matter how big of a person you are, how much influence you have. God put the truth, He gave it to us, and we are obligated to know it and to keep it. And that's how it works. And so it's not complicated, and it's not arrogant. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. So here's how do you do it? Here it is. Your passion, your desire to please God has got to increase to a higher level than your passion or desire for anything else. And if you have any passion or desire in your life that is more than your passion or desire to please God, you will not succeed in the things God's called you to. And you will not please Him. It will not happen. So, now, somebody said, well, I don't care. In the book of Nehemiah, I've been going through that extensively. I can't wait to go through some of these things with the group. But anyways, at one point, when they opened up the Word of God and halfway through the book, I mean, not that there's others that weren't looking already, you know what they said their strength was? Their strongest point. You know what they said that it was? The joy of the Lord is our strength. Now, I think from a leadership perspective, that was expressed so that those who are in that valley of decision that says, we don't know whether we want to go forward or not. We don't really know whether we want to know the truth, because once we know we got to do it. If we do it, it's going to cost us. Things are going to change, blah, 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 blah. And they sounded out quickly, hey, the joy of the Lord is our strength. I think in one respect, maybe they were saying that for the younger ones who were in that valley of decision. It's like, I don't really know whether I want to follow the Lord or not. That they would be able to see the joy in the lives of those who have made this valuable choice to make pleasing God the highest desire of their life. That they would see the benefit of that in a life that carries without any doubt at all the blessing of God upon it. I mean, this is it. When somebody sees in reality what it looks like when God is involved in the person's life, it is supposed to cause others around to say, man, I wish I had that kind of joy. I wish I had that kind of peace. I wish I had that kind of power in my decisions. I wish I had that kind of a strength to stand against opposition. It's not that somebody would just yield to a set of rules and live a life bound by a bunch of guidelines. It's that somebody would have the power of God working in their life to help them overcome the temptation of the enemy and the snares of our own flesh and live a life that pleases God. And a life that pleases God is the best life a person can have. I mean, that's the whole point. God doesn't put rules in place so He ruins our life. He puts them in place to protect our lives. Because the devil is the one trying to ruin our lives. And he keeps coming. And so this is a very simple principle that many of you, I hope, have already adopted into your life. You've made it part of your thinking. If I know what's right, it's no longer a question. You know why our church struggles and struggled for years and years? Because a lot of people have known what's right and they chose not to do it. You know why our country's in the trouble it is? Because there are a lot of people that know right. No amount of money will fix the country. No amount of money is going to fix our church. No amount of money is going to fix our home. No amount of outside help is going to fix it. See, when we displease God, nobody else can keep it together. He's the only one that can do it. And so here he says, I've done my part, guys. I've given you the truth. A step further, if we would know that He's also given us His Holy Spirit. So we have the power to do these things. Guys, now I'm asking you to do your part. Once you're made aware of the truth, then you need to hold yourself to it. And know that there's consequences for that. And so it's not complicated. The Christian life is so complicated. It's not as complicated as we make it. You know? You hear the truth. You make sure it's established by the Word of God. And you, with the reliance upon God, do those things. For what reason? To please the people? Not at all. To have a good testimony? I wouldn't even do it for that. To please God. And if our ways please the Lord, we'll have a testimony with Him. But you realize having a testimony with God doesn't necessarily mean that people will ever notice it or even care. You know what God said about David long before anybody else even knew what was going on in his heart? God said, here's his testimony. He's a man after my own heart. Nobody else even knew that. But God did. You know why? Because this was the kind of life we live. So I just want to encourage you that way. Don't think it's that bad. Don't think you're the only one. Man, I'm telling you, every second of the day, you're getting options to go the other direction. You're getting pressured from people. Your flesh wants to impress. You want to be accepted. You want to be funny. You want to be cool. You want to be relevant. You're not the only one that gets these. The devil uses those on anybody he needs to. I mean, he'll go through a series of things. He'll start soft, and then he'll get a little stronger. He'll get through, and by the time he's done, he will literally withstand you to the face and threaten you with your very existence. But you know what? He's powerless if you'll do exactly what God's called you to do. That's why he gets so nasty when he loses.